Now, the American people want somebody that they could trust. The American people want somebody that will bring about change. And Joe Biden is not going to do those things. Nobody trusts Joe. You trust Joe? You think Joe's going to bring about change? He's already talking about bringing back the individual mandate. Because that's what everybody loved about Obamacare, right? It wasn't that Medicaid was expanded to include more people and more people got health care. No. Obamacare was about the individual mandate. So he's bringing the individual mandate back, right? Oh, who's his face? Joe Biden. Now, Lee Camp on the Russians, he had said the Russians are trying to get Donald Trump elected, and the Russians are trying to get Bernie Sanders elected. Russia's trying to get everybody elected. And then they go on and explain that there's no evidence that Russia's trying to get anybody elected. So, shit. So, Bernie care, we will actually get health care. Under Bernie Sanders, 100%. We trust Bernie. He's going to bring about change. Do we trust Joe? Is Joe going to bring about any change? When it comes to universal health care, Joe has a 4% of getting us some universal health care. When it comes to Bernie Sanders, we know like 99.9999% that he's going to get us universal health care. So far, there's 5 candidates left. This is Super Tuesday. It is 10:37 right now, March 3rd, 2020, Tuesday, 10:37 Mountain Time. There's 5 candidates left. You got Bloomberg and Warren and Biden and Bernie and Tulsi Gabbard. So talk about not really knowing which lane you're in. Tulsi Gabbard. She's a moderate, but she's a progressive. She's been trying to, do the thing in the middle there, so how come one show had left Tulsi out of presidential graphics? So let's just talk about Tulsi. She's right on the Patriot Act. She's right about the war. She's right about a lot of things, right about the war on drugs. But she was wrong about impeachment. So she might be good to bring, get some of those Trumpers on over, but I say fuck the Trumpers and just go for the brand new political realignment. So I don't know which one of you bastards forgot Tulsi. Was it Colbert? Surely was it Colbert. Maybe that one guy, maybe the other guy, maybe the one or the other, I don't know. But one of you bastards did it, and you need to stop doing that shit because that's called cheating. It's actually kind of crazy this election season to look at how the narrative has changed. Bloomberg skipped the first 4. He skipped the first 4 elections, and still people are calling for other candidates to drop out. It's time for them to drop out. They need to drop out. They don't have a chance. They didn't win in Iowa. They didn't win in New Hampshire. Pete Buttigieg won twice. I think Pete Buttigieg could have took his delegates all the way to the convention. I think Pete Buttigieg could have done something with those. So, yeah, what the fuck is going on? So, Tom Steyer is out. Down goes reparations. Down goes reparations. Pete and Amy are out too. But because they got a quid pro quo deal, and this is Donald Trump is sitting there saying, you know what? They should get impeached for that quid pro quo deal. So I hope that Pete and Amy got that deal in writing. The only oral agreement that's valid is the one that's written down. So both Pete and Amy had indicated before that they were going to go the distance. They're going to take the few delegates that they had all the way to the July convention in Milwaukee. Just a few days ago, 6 days at the debate, maybe the last debate or the one before them, but Jesus Christ, they just said that they were going to go all the way to the July convention, and then one day later, just kind of sick of politicians. Why do they always got to be lying? So fuck you, Pete Buttigieg, and fuck you, Amy Klobuchar. Down goes Pete. Down goes Amy Klobuchar. I got that down goes from Cenk Uygur, but, I'm citing my sources, but I'm not for sure who the original guy was that said it. So it's not Cenk Uygur, it was that original guy. It was Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, right? And Frazier, down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Pete Buttigieg lose all of Super Tuesday. So he ran for office, won a few things, got out of the thing. So, we're going to see Pete Buttigieg for the rest of our lives. but he did make a political calculation. He ran to the center. It was a short-term game, and he wound up losing. He wound up petering out. And then he also was very sensitive to his donors' demands. Hey, Pete, you need to drop the fuck out. I guess there's $5,000 at the, per pop. It's a billionaire. $5,000 ain't shit to a billionaire. So they dropped $5,000 on him. Hey, here's $5,000. Go have fun. Make sure you talk a lot of shit about Bernie. So he runs to the right. Then the donors say, "It's time for you to go." Nah, we went ahead. It's got to be Joe, right? It's got to be Joe, right? He's the only one. Bloomberg has it. No, it's got to be. So I bet you he did angle for a position in administration. Maybe he's got Secretary of State. Maybe Amy Klobuchar is going to be the vice president. But Donald says that Amy and Pete should be impeached for their quid pro quo deal with Joe Biden. And he's right. He's right. I mean, they shouldn't be, impeached. But there should be some scrutiny put on this. I mean, that's a corrupt bargain. There's been a couple corrupt bargain charges throughout history. Henry Clay and John Quincy Adams made a corrupt bargain. Henry Clay threw his votes to John Quincy Adams, and Henry Clay got to become Secretary of State, and then John Quincy Adams got to become president. And Andrew Jackson was totally screwed out of the presidency. I don't give a fuck about Andrew Jackson, so I'm, happy that had happened. But that's a corrupt bargain, and that's, known throughout history. Look at this corrupt bargain right here. But they, John Quincy Adams goes on to be the president, so they just, charge corrupt bargain. But that's how deals are made, right? You have to get a quid if you're going to, offer a quo, quid pro quo. So I think it's kind of hilarious, but it just, in historic sense, the president got impeached, says that Amy and Pete should be impeached because they had, it's quid pro quo, quid pro quo. They're the ones that set that standard. It's not a quid pro quo. It wasn't a quid pro quo. We didn't ask for nothing in return. Oh, yeah, we did. We did ask for dirt on Biden. I guess we did ask for a quo. So they set the terms. It's not a quid pro quo, not a quid pro quo, not a quid pro quo. All America learns what the fuck quid pro quo even means. But if you ever watched Silence of the Lambs, you already knew what quid pro quo was. Quid pro quo, Clarice. Clarice. So just historically, it's like, okay, the impeached president said that these two candidates need to be impeached. Marianne Williamson said that Amy and Pete must have read The Art of the Deal. Good job, Marianne Williamson. Fucking badass. She endorsed Bernie from way back, endorsed Yang, helped Mike Gravel get his emails in, get some money from, his donors and shit, and then came back to Bernie. So Marianne Williamson is badass. Yeah, Amy and Pete must have read The Art of the Deal. What did they learn to, cut and run? What did they learn to push up onto the establishment? And then instead of saying, hey, I'm going to cut a deal for the American people, they're going to cut a deal for themselves, right? Make sure they save themselves. Huge news with Chris Matthews. Chris Matthews is going to retire. He said that Bernie was a Nazi, then he apologized for it, and then Trevor Noah airs a supercut of a few clips of Chris Matthews being, schmarmy and creepy, is a little creepy to women, but they didn't seem to mind or say nothing about it, but, he retires. So did Trevor Noah just get Chris Matthews fired? Down goes Chris Matthews. Damn, Trevor Noah. Slow down. How come you ain't running for president? I'd vote for Trevor Noah. I mean, I'd like to see his campaign platform first. He's wrong about Bernie, too, but he's cool. I would vote for Trevor. I would probably vote for him than not vote for him. He only could lose my vote with, some stupid-ass, idea. Well, that's a dumb idea. You ain't got my vote. I want to mention real quick about the Nevada early caucus. It had a bigger turnout than Nevada 2016. The early caucus had just as much of a turnout than Nevada 2016. Nevada's thirsty for democracy. Bernie Sanders is the comeback kid. When it comes to Iowa, there was an increase, an uptick in young voters and people of color voters. So, and they are voting for Bernie Sanders. So this isn't the major, voter realignment that Bernie is calling for, but it's in the primary, and it's in these Republican states that don't even matter in the general election whatsoever. So just look for Bernie Sanders. He's absolutely right. You got to, if you want real change, you do have to get people out, and people have to be paying attention, and the more people that are paying attention to the damn thing, then more likely you'll get a better outcome. So his political realignment is happening. It's in small doses, so people want to try to say, and that early caucusing, right, that's huge. You give early caucusing, you give more Americans an earlier chance to go vote. Even if it takes, waiting in line for 5 hours, they're going to go do it. Nevada's thirsty for democracy, and probably the rest of the country, too. Now, Bernie had just lost the Palmetto State, so you have Biden. Man, the establishment is good at striking when the iron is hot. So Biden won, the Palmetto State. It's not like winning Battleborn, Nevada. It's not like winning Live Free or Die, New Hampshire. It's the Palmetto State. Oh, that state with the palm trees and Myrtle Beach where everybody gets raped. Yep, the rape capital. Myrtle Beach is like the rape capital of the world. So, okay, Joe Biden, that's very consistent with his personality to win, Myrtle Beach. So Bernie lost the Palmetto State. Okay, well, he won Battleborn, Nevada. He won Live Free or Die, New Hampshire. So, like Judge Judy, you got a lot of these assholes who are going to fight Bernie's revolution to the death. So, Klobuchar, Pete, Joe, we even got 90 superdelegates that are prepared to overturn a Bernie victory. The good thing about those superdelegates is now when they show the graphics on the screen, they're not adding those superdelegates already into the mix. But perhaps they should. Perhaps they should have a superdelegate vote total too. And the ranked choice voting would have solved all this. Ranked choice voting, you can make it a system to where 2 to 100 people, if 2 people run, or 1 person, but if 1 person runs, you don't need an election. If 2 people run, ranked choice voting can handle that. If 100 people run, ranked choice voting can handle that. But the current election system that we have, now they're saying they're going to take Bernie's plurality, right? That's the aim for the July convention strategy, to deny Bernie a majority and get all the other candidates, to deny him a majority, get him a plurality, and then the second round, they will fuck Bernie over. They will screw Bernie over if they go to the second round, which is what looks like they're aiming on doing. And while I agree, in general, if you don't have the majority victor thing, that a plurality should stand above, just random chaos, plurality isn't a majority. To guarantee a majority, you need ranked choice voting. You have to have ranked choice voting. Why don't we have ranked choice voting? What the fuck, America? Jesus Christ. It's like even our democracy fucking sucks around here. You're going to sit there and say that Cuba had no democracy? What kind of democracy is this? Independents don't stand a chance in this country. That's not a democracy, and it's not fair. Ranked choice voting makes it fair. So that's your Super Tuesday update. Run, Bernie, run. You got 15 states, 1/3 of all the delegates to get. This is a major fucking day. This is going to, show you something. 5 candidates are still in it, and I think there are 4 lanes. You got the, radical left, the radical right, and then you got the 2 centers. You got 4 lanes, and there's 5 candidates. And I like Tulsi better than all the, other not Bernie candidates that's in there. So, quit fucking with Tulsi. She's still in there. She's, against the war on drugs, against the wars, period, against the Patriot Act, so she's in favor of freedom. She's a good ally for Bernie Sanders, and, I want her to win some delegates so she could give it to Bernie too, right? Pull and Amy and Pete. But regardless, anyways, good luck, Bernie Sanders. Peace.